everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review, and today's review is in association with MarvelousNews.com, your #1 news source for everything Marvel. And for today's review, we're going to take a look at the upcoming Marvel Legends Captain America Civil War Iron Man Mark 46 movie figure from Hasbro. Now this 6-inch figure comes packaged in the same style of packaging we've seen with the other Marvel Legend figures for 2016. You've got the Build-A-Figure Giant Man logo up at the very top, you've got the Legend Series logo, and then the figure clearly displayed. Because this is a movie figure, we've got the Captain America Civil War logo, and then the name of the character down below. On the side, we have images of Iron Man from the movie, and then on the back, we have a look at the actual figure, a brief bio in multiple languages, and then down below, we have a look at all the figures in the wave. Okay, so let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside the packaging. Now before we look at the figure itself, let's first take a look at all the accessories that it comes with. So first of all, it comes with the right hand for the Civil War Giant Man Build-A-Figure, and we'll be looking at this figure, the Giant Man figure, in its own review once we've looked at all the other figures in this wave. So after today, we only have Nick Fury to look at, which we'll probably get to tomorrow, and then do a review of Giant Man on Friday. So be sure to check back for that. The figure also comes with 2 different pairs of hands. So when you take it out of the packaging, you've got attached a closed-fisted hand and an open hand, but then you also get a second open hand and a second closed-fisted hand. So the closed-fisted hands are basically for like punching and stuff, and the detail is pretty good. You've got the red with the gold trim, and you've got a little bit of silver as well. And then with the open hands are made so that you can basically use the blast effects, which are also included for the first time with the Hasbro figure. We've seen this with the Tomasi Nations SH Figure Iron Man figures in the past, but now Hasbro looks like has been taking some notes from them, and it included a couple of blast effects, which I think is nice. So these blast effects are translucent blue plastic. They're kind of a soft rubbery type plastic, and you've got a little bit of frost here on the end, and then you've got where it kind of opens up for like the blast effect. You've got the little peg on the end, so that it does differ a little bit from the SH Figure Arts ones. The SH Figure Arts ones have holes, and you plug them into the hands that have the little pegs. So on the Hasbro ones, you've got the pegs on the blast effects. So unfortunately, you can't interchange the blast effects, even though they look very similar, about the same size and such, but they're not interchangeable. So what you do with the Hasbro figure is you just take, there's a hole on the open hand, and you just plug that peg into the open hand. And you know, if you want to switch out the hands, it's really easy. Just like with other figures, you just pull out the peg and then slide in the hand that you want to use. And these blast effects you can use either to like make it look like he's firing his repulsor blasts. They're a little bit short for that, but you can still make that work for the most part, I think. But then also you can use them so it's like for thrust control when he's flying and stuff. And I think that's what these blast effects look best as, is like for flight poses and stuff. Well, I don't think it was meant for this. If you want, you can take those blast effects and you can take the pegs and stick them into the peg holes on the bottom of Iron Man's feet and basically use it for jet blast effects for flight. So for the Iron Man figure itself, this is a new sculpt, it looks like. It's not just a reuse of the Age of Ultron or Iron Man 3 movie figures. It does appear to be a new sculpt. And I actually think this is probably the nicest looking Iron Man movie figure that Hasbro's done to date. So you've primarily got red on this armor with some gold trim, and then you've also got some silver trim mixed in as well. And I think it comes off looking really good. The paint applications on my figure seem to be pretty solid. You don't really have much in the way of bleeding or anything. You do have this little looks like, I don't know, almost looks like a fingerprint or something on the back of his leg here where you've got some red coming through, but that's really the only blemish on my figure that I have. So I think it's pretty solid paint applications. I like the way the arc reactor looks on this figure. I like the shape of it. I like how they've got the white in the middle, and then you've got the blue trim, and then you've got some silver metallic trim here on the outer part of the armor, and then you've also got some silver up here, which I think looks good, and down here on his leg. So overall, I like the way the sculpting of this figure looks, and the paint applications are pretty solid. If you're wondering if you can take that alternate head that came with the Age of Ultron Iron Man figure, the one with the faceplate that's lifted up and you see Tony Stark's head, it is a little bit different paint applications. The reds are a little bit different color, the golds are a little bit different color, but you can still kind of make it work. Now the ball joint it's not a perfect fit. You really have to kind of push hard and kind of turn it, and you don't get it to fully snap in, but for the most part you can make it work. And like I said, if you want to have a Tony Stark type head on this figure, it does work pretty well for the most part. So this figure stands almost 6 3/4 inches tall. Okay, and here's some comparison with other Iron Man movie figures. Most of these are all Hasbro figures. This Mark 45 is actually the SH Figure Arts version because Hasbro didn't do a Mark 45. And you can see the 46 is definitely taller than SH Figure Arts, which is typical. But this figure is actually a little bit taller than the Age of Ultron Hasbro figure and the Iron Man 3 figure just by a hair, and then definitely taller than these older Iron Man movie figures. The only one taller obviously is the Hulkbuster Build-A-Figure. Here's a comparison with Hulk, Thor, and Captain America, and you can see the scale between these is pretty good. Iron Man is taller than Cap, but Hulk and Thor are both taller than Iron Man. One final comparison, here's a look at the Iron Man figure with his other Civil War teammates, Black Panther, Black Widow, and War Machine. Relation on this figure is not too bad. The head is on a ball hinge joint, so he can look left and he can look right good. He can look down really good. He can look back pretty good. You can kind of have it off the ball joint so that you can get him looking ahead for flight poses. So pretty good movement there at the head. Arms are attached with your standard ball hinge joint. Now he's got these shoulder pads, and unfortunately the shoulder pads are not articulated in any way. So it does limit some of the movement with the arm. You can only get the arm out about that much. He does have good rotation there at the arm. He does have a bicep swivel. He's got a double jointed elbow, so he can bend his elbow about that much. And then he's got the swivels at the wrist, and he has hinges on the hands. So he's got pretty good up and down movement with the hands. He's got a midsection joint, so he's got a rotation there at the midsection. Not a whole lot of crunching there at the joint. He can only look down about that much, and he can look back about that much. He does not have any kind of waist swivel. Legs are attached with ball joints, and he can only do the splits about that much, so limited there a little bit with the movement. And this leg actually has a tendency to kind of pop back down. It doesn't want to really stay out very much. You can get the legs forward about that much, and you can do the leg back about that much. You do have the thigh swivel. You've got a double jointed knee, so good bending at the knee, and then you've got the hinges on the feet, so you've got pretty good up and down movement with the feet, and you do have ankle pivot, and then 2 peg holes on the bottom of the feet for this one. Okay, so that's my review. Overall, I like this figure. As I said before, this is probably my favorite Hasbro Iron Man movie figure to date. I like the sculpting. I like the look of the armor. I like the extra blast effects. I think that's a nice addition. I hope we see more of that with future figures. So the wave with this figure is not yet out in the United States. It'll probably be out by the end of this month or early next month. It is out overseas in places like the Philippines, which is where I picked up my set of figures. We'll have a full gallery of images up at marvelousnews.com. There's a link in the description below. And as always, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you later.